Hey guys, Ryu here from Blender Bros, and let's continue with the modeling. Now before we actually go on and start creating this middle part here, I think that we could run some chamfers here. Now chamfers are a really good way of creating highlights because they create something that's referred to as plane shift. So if you think about this shape here, there is the surface here which is a plane, and there is a plane shift, the angle shifts. And this creates a really nice reflection in terms of lighting. So all these tiny, tiny chamfers here, they're gonna catch light and create a really nice separation, visual separation. So what I would be doing here is, for instance, I'll be going to edge mode and grabbing this edge, going to side view here, and Control B that, and creating a bevel here. So we want to go with maybe here 6 segments. So 6 segments, and click, and then I'm going to select this edge here, all around here, all the way down here, and Control B that. So create a chamfer and scroll and make it smaller, so there's a difference of sizes here, right? And then another one here, so we could run a chamfer all the way here. So click here, Control click here, and Control B, and hold Shift and create a chamfer. And this could be smaller as well, so it's actually smaller than the one on the top. So difference of sizes is also important, and you don't want to make them uniform, right? Now the bottom part here could be flush. That's cool, I think it's all right. And this would be more than enough for this piece. Looks really awesome. Well, let's rename this collection. So double click here and let's call it wheels. And we're going to add a cylinder. So Shift I and add the cylinder. Now we want to add more vertices because we're gonna make this really big. So I would go with at least, okay, 50. I mean at least, right? You wanna go really dense on this, alright? So 50 should do. And let's just scale it on Z, scale it on X, and now what we're gonna do, we're gonna move this leg, okay? So GY and move it in here, okay? And just leave it for the time being. Let's make this one bigger, right? So maybe something like this. This leg is a little bit long. Let me see. Let me grab this leg, GY, and move it somewhere here. Let's scale it, so SY, SZ, and scale it down a bit. GZ, and move it up here, like that. And let me see that. GZ, a little bit lower here. And let's just shade it smooth. So right click, shade smooth, click here, and auto smooth, right? And now we're gonna apply scale. So Control A and apply scale. And let's see, this is actually not too small. I think this should be actually a little bit bigger. So let's scale it a little bit more. And then let's move this leg a little bit further. So GY and maybe somewhere here. Something like this, maybe. This would do. Maybe a little bit bigger. And then SZ and scale it down a bit. And we could move this one lower. There we go. How are we looking? I think we're looking pretty good. Okay, so now let's apply scale one more time. So Control A, apply scale. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this, all right? I'm going to move this, rotate it around this cylinder. But if I'm going to try to rotate it now, you can see that it will rotate, but around its own origin. So what we need to do, we need to change the pivot point from individual origins to cursor. And now if I'm going to press R and hold Control, and you have to be in top view, right? Top view and orthographic. It's very important, not perspective, but orthographic. And then press R and hold Control, and you can snap it into increments to this side. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna create an instance of this entire collection. We could mirror all these parts separately across, but we also could create an instance which will not really take more memory because it's gonna be basically a fake. It's not a geo, it's just an image of kind of like a echo of this shape. Now before we create an instance, we need to separate this one to a different collection. So we need to move it from wheels to a separate collection. So we're gonna press M and we're gonna make a new collection and call it core, and click OK. And we're gonna leave it here. That's cool. Let's just collapse that. And then we're gonna go add collection instance, and we're gonna select wheels. And now you can see that I have the collection instance here, and this is not really geo, because if you see that if I press tab I cannot go to edit mode. There are no verts, no faces, no edges. It's just a illusion, right? But what we can do is we can actually R, and we can rotate it here with control to the other side, right? Make sure that you maintain the angle. And then we're going to duplicate it, so Shift D, and we're gonna keep rotating this here, right? And then Shift D, R, hold Control, and rotate it in here. Another cool thing is that if I'm going to, change anything on this one, all these instances will be affected, okay? So for example, if I, grab this face and try to do something like this, all of them gonna get adjusted at the same time. It's exactly what I want. So remember that this is our real geo and the rest is just instances, okay? So here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to face mode, right? Select this face in the bottom, Control B, and we're gonna create like a really nice chamfer. Now don't go too high, because I don't want to go above these, above this area here, above this edge of this shape. And the same in the top, just a smaller one, okay, smaller chamfer. There we go, that's cool. And I think that's gonna do, actually gonna make it a little bit bigger, so something like this. And if you want to make this a bit taller, what you can do is select this one with Shift and GZ, and you can move it with Shift up and down, just to make it a little bit taller, okay? Cool. Now what I want to do is I want to grab piece here, and I want to solidify it. So this is what we're going to do, okay? We're going to select this face, and we're going to select this face with Shift here, let's hold Shift in here, and then we're going to select this one and hold Control, click here, hold Control, hold Control, hold Control, and there you go. And we're going to press Shift D to duplicate it, right mouse button to cancel, press P, and create a selection out of it. So now we have two pieces, this one and this one, okay? Let's grab this to local mode, so /. So let's grab this first, and we're going to insert it, okay? So I for insert it a little bit, and click here, all right? And with Control, click around this shape to select it, press X and delete faces, okay? And we're gonna do the same thing in the bottom. So insert, hold Shift, and then hold Control, click here, Control, Control. If you click here by mistake, just press Control Z. And somewhere here, right? And then faces. Perfect. And now we're going to move this origin point to the geo. So Shift S and to geometry. Cool. Let's go back, so /. Now what we're going to do, we're going to actually solidify this. So we're going to add a modifier called solidification, right? So, click on this wrench and solidify. And we want to solidify this outwards, so minus value, okay? And make sure you click this even thickness. We see it's going to fix this thickness of this shape all around it, okay? It's very important. And now what I want to do is I want to cut it a little bit from the top, okay? So I'm going to create a cube, right? Go to side view and make it flatter and move it somewhere here. And S, Shift Z. So now if we're going to press scale and Shift Z, it's going to scale on every single axis except Z. So it's going to scale on X and Y, but not Z, okay? And then we're going to drop it down, so G, Z, and drop it down a little bit like here, and select this one and Control minus. So you're going to get this kind of a shape. And then what we can do is go to select this shape, go to edit mode, press A to select this whole shape, and I want to show you a cool trick. If you're going to duplicate this shape now in edit mode with everything selected, this cutter, you do not have to run a second boolean. So watch, Shift D and Z. Now we can move it down, and you see what I'm moving, it's actually cutting the mesh. So I'm gonna drop it down here, hold Shift, and cut it a little bit from the bottom like this, okay? Like this, and click. and then object mode, and boom, you got one cutter. This is a little bit thinner at the bottom, so let's go to edit mode, GZ, and hold shift and drop it down a bit, and Bob's your uncle, right? So the M and cutters, perfect. And we got this really cool shape going on, right? So what we can do now is apply the boolean. So we can apply the solidification, right? And apply the boolean, okay? And what we can do now is we can borrow the bevel modifiers, for example, from the wheel. And the only thing is that we would need to apply the mirror. So let's apply the mirror, and then we can borrow modifiers. So select this, Shift, select the wheel, and Control C, and copy modifiers. And this will copy the bevel and the weighted normal, so we don't have to do it again and again, okay? Cool. So now with this one, I'm gonna mirror this across because it's gonna be the easiest way to deal with this. So we're gonna grab that, we're gonna add a mirror, okay? And we need to move the mirror above weighted normals. It's really important, okay? We're gonna select this one and we're gonna mirror across the shape, right? Now we wanna mirror this across x-axis, but also y-axis. So it's gonna mirror here and there. So now, you know, we can edit this geometry, and the other one's gonna get edited as well, okay? So see what I mean? But when I apply the mirror, these gonna become geometry, real geometry. So that's the difference, okay? So there you go. That's pretty cool. Awesome, done. And now also I need some kind of a piece here in the middle. So let's go to edit mode and do the same thing. So go to face mode, select this one, and select maybe these faces here. And with control, just select them all around here, or you could press W. If it doesn't work, press W a few times until you see this circle, hold shift, and simply select like this. If you go too far, hold control and, you know, deselect, and then here press W to turn it off, and you're good to go. And then we could technically do it on the other side as well, but you know, I'm just gonna mirror it, it's gonna be easier. We're going to press Shift D, and we're going to press P and selection, and then we're going to select this piece, this one, and go to local view and do the same thing. So select these two and insert them like this, right? Click with Shift here and then hold Control all around, right? Shift click here and then hold Control, select this shape around, X, delete faces, right? And then we go into add solidification. So let's go back. So let's add the solidification, and just let's hold shift and solidify this. That's cool. This could be a little bit thicker, even thickness. Now press Shift 2 to recover cutters. And we're gonna grab this cutter that we were using to cut these pieces, right? And because it's the same height, we can reuse it. So Shift click this one and Control minus, and boom. You don't have to create new cutters, and they're perfectly flush against one another. Shift to remove it. And then we're going to apply the solidification here. So let's apply the solidification, okay? And let's apply the bool tool. And then we're going to mirror it. So we're going to shift click this one, Control C, and copy modifiers, with the only exception that we need only one mirror. So let's select this piece, and we need on the X mirror, so you can remove the other you know, turn this off. You don't need that. Cool, so that's done, and we can move on. Select this piece in the middle and select this face here, so we need to be in face mode, and we're going to inset it, right? Inset it a little bit like this, and we're going to extrude it up, right, a little bit, and then extrude it some more, so E, Z, and then we're going to scale it like this, okay, until it breaks. And this looks pretty cool to me. And then we're going to I for inset, E for extrusion, hold shift and move it down, E, scale it a little bit, not too much, and then E again to bring it up. And you're going to create kind of like a gap here, small gap. And if it's invisible now because there's no bevel, but we're going to grab a bevel. So let's grab a bevel from the wheel again. So let's shift click the wheel here and Control C, copy modifiers. and we're gonna get bevel here and weight it normal, so you don't have to do that. Cool. So now this is, you know, sort of like a base for our shape, and then we can work on that. So we can go to face mode, Shift D this, right? Right click to cancel, press P and selections, the same operation all the time. Go to object mode, and with this selected, right, we're gonna go to edit mode, select the face, E, and we're gonna extrude it up here, okay? And let's go to top view, and I'm gonna show you a cool trick. So now let's go to vertex mode, and let's go to occlude. Click here and press B for B selection. And now we're gonna select these vertices from here down. So we're gonna be able to extend it. So we're gonna press GY, and we're gonna move this whole shape out here like this. Okay, cool. Okay, awesome. So at the top here, we can, we can extend it. So G, Z, and let's just chamfer this with Control B, E, hold Shift, extend it just a little bit. And this is gonna be our top part here. Maybe that's a little bit too tall. So let's press Control plus, and GZ, and drop it down a bit. Like that, and I think that's cool. Right. So this would be, our base, and then we're gonna create this top mechanical arm here, possibly in the next 1 or 2 videos. And, we're gonna be wrapping things up, and then we're gonna add some details and render. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next part.